Good morning. Hi, I'm Di. Welcome to the channel. If you've been here before, you'll know what we do, but for those who haven't, what we do here, we do cooking, we do gardening out in the vegetable garden, or we're in my flower garden, and we also do crafts. So today we're in the kitchen and we're cooking. So I've been asked to take a meal to someone who's got a sick child, and I know that they're very, very busy. So what I'm doing today is cooking curried chicken. Now with this recipe, the recipe will be listed below in the description. With this recipe, it's a guide only. You can add what vegetables you want, you can change things up, add a little bit more of something, a little bit less, but you'll see as I'm cooking, it might be different to what's written in the description, because the description is, what the recipe in the description is the proper recipe. And if you followed me for a while, you'll know I'm always changing them. And it's a few reasons. It's what I've got on hand, or it's our taste is a little bit different to what the recipe is, so I'll leave things out or add other things. In this case, I have spoken, if you've watched my other videos, that I'm doing a little bit of a challenge, and I'm trying not to go to the shops and buy anything, because I've got freezers full and I've still got produce from the garden that I grew last summer, that is still in the freezer. So that was harvested in January, February and March last year, so I do need to use it up. So that's what I've done here. I've gone through my freezer and said, yes, I can use this, I can use that. And I didn't go to the shops for anything. And I needed celery, and I thought, well, I thought I had some in the freezer. I went through it and I've used it all. So I'll have to actually get busy and grow some more. But I knew that I'd dehydrated some, so you'll see that I've got some soaking in water so I can rehydrate it. But anyway, let's get on and have a look at the whole lot of ingredients that we're going to be using today. So first up, we're going to be using some rice. Of course you have rice with curry. We're going to be using some flour. Now I've got self-raising flour there. Normally you would use plain flour, but it's what I've got on hand. So it's not going to make any difference to the recipe. I've got some chicken stock there. Now that has been in the freezer since November last year, I think. Yep, November last year. So I've got that out. There's the celery, which is actually soaking in a little bit of water that was dehydrated. The smell and flavour will be there. The texture may be a little bit different to fresh celery because it seems very soft. But I mean, we cook the celery anyway, but I generally will leave it a little bit more crispy. So we're not going to get crispness out of that celery, but we will definitely get the flavour. There's bay leaves that we're going to be using. Now you can see that it says picked fresh, April 22. I actually got those. I don't have a bay tree, but I'm a member of the Produce Swap group, and somebody brought big branches. So I dehydrated them and I've kept them. So you can do all sorts. If you can't use produce straight away, you can freeze it, you can dehydrate it, or you can can it. We're going to be using margarine. Normally this recipe calls for butter, but the person who's going to be consuming it, one of them, doesn't have dairy, so that's why I'm using margarine. I'm using curry powder. You can use a curry paste, but this recipe always has a curry powder, and I just like the flavour of it with the curry powder. I'm using salt, coconut cream. Down the front here, I've dug through the freezer. I've got some diced onions. They're from May last year. Saves me chopping them up. They're already done. I'm adding some grated zucchini. The recipe doesn't call for it. It'll disappear because it's grated. You won't even know that it's in there, but I'm just wanting to add a few more veggies. Plus I'm wanting to clear out the freezer. There's some carrots. Yes, they're chopped up, they're frozen. That's what I do when they're on special, when I can save money, or when I grow a lot of them. Yep, I blanch them, I chop them up, blanch them and freeze them. And they're from last year as well. I've got leeks. They're from October last year. The recipe doesn't call for leeks, but yeah, it's a nice gentle onion flavour, so that'll be good. We've got capsicum. So I did have capsicum on hand. That's the only thing I think I got out of my fridge today. Chicken. I had frozen chickens. I've still got a few in my freezer. So I boiled that one up and I didn't use the stock from that. I put it in the freezer because I already had stock in the freezer that I wanted to use up. So that's what I've done there. And that's all we have in the way of ingredients. Now we'll start making it. So come along with me and let's see how it's made. Okay, so we're going to start by sweating down our vegetables, and I'm just adding a generous amount of margarine to my pan, which I need to turn on. I wasn't sure if I turned that on or not. And well, I did go through the ingredients, but I forgot one. We use some brown sugar, so I've got that out as well now. So we've got our margarine in there, and we're going to add, now my onions are quite watery because they've been frozen, so I'm just going to go and drain them. Okay, so they were drained, and looks like I'm going to, I need to drain my leeks. No, they're pretty good. And I'll add the leeks as well. We'll also add the celery. Now there is still some water in there, not much, but I'm going to use that because once that celery's been soaking in the water is going to have a lot of flavour in it. Yeah, there's probably about 1.5 tablespoons of water that's gone in there. I'll add the capsicum. The grated zucchini. Another thing I usually add to this is green beans. I slice them up and add them, but I think there's enough in there with the zucchini today, so I won't be adding the beans. Just breaking that up a little bit, and I'll also add my carrots. Right, so we just need to wait for that to heat up and cook down a bit. So we'll come back when that's cooked down. Oh, before we go, you can see in the back that I've got a saucepan, not quite boiling yet. I've added some salted water to that, and I'm going to be cooking the rice in that pot. So we'll come back when the vegetables are done. Okay, so the vegetables have cooked. The rice has been added to that water, and that's cooking away nicely there at the back. So we'll just turn this off, and this is where we add all our flavourings. So first I'm going to add the chicken stock powder, and I'm very generous with this. This is 2 very big heaped teaspoons. Then we're going to add our curry powder. What I generally do with this, I don't measure it, I give it a good shake, and then at the end when I've done it all, I'll taste, and if it needs some more, I'll add some more. I'm going to add, I'll measure this out, 2 teaspoons of salt, and brown sugar, a tablespoon of, I think I'll add 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. I was just looking at how many vegetables I had there. So we'll just give that a good stir. Now we'll add our flour. I'm just measuring this out. I'm measuring out half a cup. Just sprinkle the flour around there, and now we need to mix all that in. Okay, now we're going to add our liquids to that. So the first one I'm adding is the chicken stock. There we go. Pouring all the chicken stock in. And the next one is coconut cream. If you don't have coconut cream, you can add coconut milk. But I prefer the cream because it gives it a really nice texture, real creamy. And I think that the flavour's a little bit stronger using the coconut cream. So we're just going to now we've added everything except the bay leaves and the chicken at this stage. So we're going to mix this through. And we're going to put the heat back on. We're going to bring this back to the boil, and the flour in that will cause it to thicken once it starts boiling. So we'll come back once that's boiling and starting to thicken. So unfortunately it looks like I lost a bit of footage there. I cooked it all until it thickened. I added an extra 2 tablespoons of flour because it wasn't thick enough. And then once that had all cooked through and I'd made sure that the flour was all cooked, I added the chopped up chicken and I added 4 bay leaves. And I was saying that the flavours do develop when this is left to sit overnight in the fridge. You can serve it up straight away, of course removing those bay leaves first, or you can put it in the fridge and leave it overnight, which is a really good thing to do. We used to use this when we had a lot of guests coming over and having dinner, or if we had a party, because we could always make it the day before, pop it in the fridge, and then that's one meal out of the way, so that you're not rushing around on the day that you're expecting visitors. So there you go, it's all done. I'm sorry that I lost the footage there of putting that in, but yeah, I'm just going to put it into some containers and then take it down, deliver it to the person who's going to receive it. So thanks for joining me. I hope you tried the recipe. I hope you enjoy it. I'd love to hear your comments if you do try it, and if you vary it, because as I said, you can vary it and leave things out, add things, and also it depends on if you're growing a vegetable garden, what have you got in the vegetable garden? What can you put in there to bulk out those vegetables? So yeah, experiment, have fun, and I hope you enjoy it. Hope to see you back next time. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.